What's up, guys? Welcome back to PitchPass Podcast. My name is Brett. I still have a scuffed microphone. That is my bad. We just started recording, and I realized, luckily, only a few minutes in, that my microphone was not recording. I did a whole intro. I showed off a bunch of the cute kitties that we now house within our home. You're okay, buddy. Oh, you're okay. I'm sorry about that. Ow! Anyway, let's just dive right in. We're going to be talking about week one. We're going to be highlighting some rookies to watch and making our predictions on these matchups. Very first important thing, we talked about this a little bit. Players that are injured or out. Travis Kelce will not be playing. I know they're talking about it. You and I were just talking about it. Yeah, the odds of him playing, I understand that he is him, but it's like the
He's also like 35 years old.
33, I think, this year. Yeah, so the odds of him coming out of a hyperextended knee, which luckily the scans do show no ACL damage, no ligament damage, no tears or anything. But yeah, I mean, hey, I I can't imagine him playing. So we're gonna highlight a little bit of that. We're also going to talk about Cooper Kupp and the Rams, even though the Rams aren't contending, most likely, I mean, it would be a stretch for the Rams to contend. But Cooper Kupp is very, very likely to miss time. And what was the other one we were talking about?
Um, Chris Jones.
Chris,
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, hold
Contract
up.
situation.
No, there was one more injury that we were talking about.
Aaron Thorne.
Oh yeah, Terry, scary Terry. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit when we talk about Cardinals Commanders. I have a cat that is obsessed with me here. Um, Yeah, let's hop into Lions Chiefs. So week one, obviously, started the NFL season. Chiefs are missing their two best non-quarterback players. There's going to be a lot of rookies starting in a lot of places. Who are your rookies to look at in this game?
All right, rookies to watch in this game. Let's start with probably the most explosive player on the Lions offense right now, Jahmyr Gibbs. This is a guy who's good with the ball in his hands, whether as a receiver or as a rusher. It's a great Detroit offensive line. No Chris Jones. Nothing to stop him going up the middle and just really pounding the rock with him and David Montgomery all game.
Especially as an alternate receiving threat. Yeah, absolutely.
And also Brad Johnson talking about inventing a new position for him. We're gonna probably see him take a bunch of snaps out wide or in the slot or just lined up in a bunch of different formations and places. I'm excited to see it. I hope it's very reminiscent of Debo Samuel and Cordero Patterson 2 years ago. That's what I'm really hoping for. On the defensive side for Detroit, we should also keep an eye on their rookie linebacker. I don't know why I'm spacing on his name.
Oh my goodness,
Jack Campbell.
Jack
Jack
Campbell.
Campbell.
Yeah,
So, absolute dog, great tackler, is an old school kind of linebacker that's just there to stop the run. Great instincts, could be taken advantage of in the passing game, but no Travis Kelce is going to make it a lot of an easier debut for the rookie.
definitely.
On the flip side for the Chiefs, we're going to definitely be wanting to keep an eye on Felix. I'm going to let you pronounce
Felix
his last name.
Anudike Uzama. Yes, FAU.
Felix, I love you. I love your heritage. I love all everything about that. I promise you, son, it's so much more offensive if I even try to pronounce your name. I am so sorry.
You know what? That's okay. You acknowledge him and you acknowledge that you would butcher it, so you're doing him the honor of not even trying, and that's
Yeah.
that's all good.
Um,
I share that similar sentiment with you. I'm right there with you. I think honestly, it's going to be really interesting from the perspective of the Chiefs' offense. We know this Lions' offense kind of has its limitations. I'm interested to see what Jahmyr adds to the Lions' offense because we know Goff's limitations on home versus away, and especially dome versus no dome. Being in the loudest stadium in the NFL opening weekend, it's definitely going to be an experience. So I don't know if
they're not playing Seattle this week.
Okay, all right, relax, relax. I was gonna say, I know Arrowhead is like one of the top three loudest. I know.
I think it is Seattle though.
Okay, I know Seattle, whatever Philly's stadium is, and
Or the
Arrowhead.
link
Yeah.
Lincoln.
Yes. You're okay, buddy. I'm really interested to see what receiver steps up for Kansas City or how we're able to utilize some tandem of running backs. Um,
Hmm.
I think this is going to be Jerick McKinnon's last stop as a starter in the NFL. I love Jarek. I loved him when he was on the Vikings. I loved him his first stint with Kansas City. I'm very glad we brought him back. Our offensive line is great. We just don't really have the receiving threats to excuse me. We don't have the established receiving threat of Travis Kelce. We don't have Tyreek Hill. We don't have Mecole Hardman. We don't have a lot of the guys that had been a staple of what the Kansas City Chiefs are. So looking at this new regime of receivers that we brought in, Rashee Rice, who was a second-round pick this year, Justin Ross, who went undrafted, got hopefully all of those injuries taken care of, knocking on wood. We have MVS coming back for another year. Sky Moore, year 2. I hope that we can see an increased role for him. Kadarius Toney, I believe this is year 3 for Kadarius Toney in the NFL, but week 2, year 2 with us. I'm hoping that he can come back happy and healthy. I think he probably will be on a limited snap count. So I think that we're really going to try our luck with the run in this game. I think you can really expect to see Deneric Prince get some shots, but it will largely be handled by Jerick McKinnon in the receiving, and especially as a third down back, and probably Pacheco as a first, second down back.
Yeah, well, I think this might be the year we see Isaiah Pacheco's really get handed the keys in this run game. I think, especially week 1, you're going up against Detroit. Honestly, I would just pound the rock. Use that offensive line to your advantage and really just control time of possession. Do what you guys did well last year in playing well and not turning the ball over.
Absolutely.
You guys don't need the big home run plays. We saw that last year.
Just consistency.
Just consistency and not getting frustrated.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah.
If Mahomes starts to get frustrated in this game, that will be the biggest factor if they win or lose.
That's how we lost to the Colts.
Yeah. That's how he loses a lot of his games that he shouldn't.
All of this being said, we all know what I'm going to say. I believe that this will be a much closer game because last year this was 2 of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. I still believe both of these offenses are very explosive, but when you have pieces on your offense and defense getting neutered, no offense, buddy, it's going to be difficult either way. I will take Kansas City. I'll take Kansas City -3.
-3. So
I think it's a field goal difference.
I do think Detroit will. So the spread, they opened up at like 7-point favorites. KC did. Now it's to 6 points. I don't know where it's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll probably be closer to 4.5 by tomorrow morning. Yeah. But yeah, I do think KC will pull out this game, but I do think Detroit's going to cover the spread. This Lions team, they're definitely going to be better than they were last year. The biggest issue is going to be outside cornerback for them. And you know what? This is a great matchup for them because there's no real great outside wide receivers in KC.
Not established. We'll see.
Not established. Okay. MVS is the most established wide receiver in your guys' room.
Which is, yeah. Yep.
Hey.
I think you could argue Jerick McKinnon is the most established receiver in our room.
I'm dogging MVS way too much.
Oh, I love MVS personally. I gave him majority of the credit last year in the Bengals game, AFC Championship game, but
torching them in that game.
But yeah, I digress into saying it's going to be a very interesting game to see which way both teams score.
I'm also very excited to see Brian Branch for the Lions.
Yes.
Rookie out of Alabama. He's going to be their nickel right there playing in the slot all game. That's why I'm a little worried about how Casey's going to score because it seems like their best receivers are in the slot with Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney.
Definitely.
And, of course, they're playing against possibly the best players in that secondary with Brian Branch and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
Both agree Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. Best quarterback in Kansas City's history, and he's going to lead them probably to a win in the season opener on Thursday night.
Absolutely.
Let's go to our next game. Browns Bengals.
Yeah,
This is a
this.
fun matchup.
Yeah. So, last year I was one of the very, very few people who predicted that the Browns would come out and just eat the Bengals. I was like, sorry, my mic went out again. I was one of the few people who predicted Myles Garrett was just going to come out and eat that Bengals offensive line, and that he did. I did the Browns win both matchups last year, or was it just the first one? I feel like they won both of them.
They might have. Let me see. Bengals won the matchup on December 11th. No, that's 2022. Yeah. Yeah. So looks like the Bengals won October 31st. I hate the way this is set up.
Is my audio back? Now my audio is back. All right. Well, I hope my audio was on that whole time. It looked like it was lighting up the whole time. So I'm going to assume it
Yeah.
was on. If it isn't, just know I was just talking about Kansas City and the Lions. But you know what? Now we're moving on. Myles
Now we're
Garrett,
moving on.
still absolute dog, gonna eat. It's going to be really interesting to see how this Browns offense functions. They have the addition of Amari Cooper. Cedric Tillman is definitely a guy that I think you should look out for. I don't think he's going to get any significant role at all in this game. He might have like 2 catches. I can't imagine any more than 4. I can't imagine that many, to be honest with you.
I mean, he's kind of buried on that depth chart. There's also Donovan Peoples-Jones and
Yeah,
Elijah Moore. Like, that's who I'm really excited to see this year is Elijah
Elijah Moore.
Moore. And let him loose. He had a great rookie year with the Jets, and then just was forgotten last year for most of the season.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
also
he
excited
was
to see.
injured really bad for a while, wasn't he? Or he was just banged up and not performing well after a certain point. Because his rookie
Yeah,
year, he had like a 6-game stretch that he had like 6 touchdowns and like 460 yards or something in 6 games. It's like, where's this kid coming from? Like,
the answer to your question is yes.
okay,
He was banged up, but probably could have played.
probably.
Also, was just shitty with LaFleur, the offense coordinator at the time. So it was just a whole coordination of everything, just stopping him from wanting to play. Um, Also, year 2 of Amari Cooper with this team. It's going to be great to see. Um,
Well, it's
I
year one of Deshaun and Amari Cooper, really, because Deshaun got to play what, 4 games? Yeah,
yeah, 6.
6. Okay.
So yeah, essentially a first full year of them playing together, first off season of them both being on the same team.
Hmm.
Cleveland actually led all teams in snaps out of an empty set, so no running back or anything in the backfield, just all pass catchers.
It's really
The
interesting.
highest rate by like almost double of anyone else.
It's really
So
interesting how talented the Browns roster is, but like how
low
mis
expectations.
yeah, that and misutilization. Like, I don't know. I will refrain from commenting on that. I mean, when you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and like the #1 offensive line in the league, like you think you'd be able to get a little bit more done, but
Quarterback play can definitely hinder that to a certain extent. Baker Mayfield was definitely holding him back for a little bit, and then they had to still wait that 12-game suspension to be up for Deshaun Watson. I understand how these things happen.
yeah,
Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before Tom Brady came over there when it was still Jameis Winston. They could barely get over 500,
that
if even
yeah.
that.
Well, I was gonna say
They're just a quarterback away.
every ball Jameis threw was a 50-50, so yeah.
And so
um
was Baker Mayfield, though, to a certain extent,
no, he had that one 9-game stretch where he
where he was dangerous.
shake and bake. Um, are you
Um,
excited to see any rookies for the Bengals or just new additions?
oh, Miles Murphy. I am excited to see that big ass kid from from Clemson just go and dominate an offensive tackle. Strong, twitched up kid. I'm I'm ready to see an actual edge rusher for the Cincinnati Bengals actually be able to take over a full game.
That's valid. And honestly, I don't hate DJ Turner either. I don't think he's going to be like a number one impact guy this year, but
Mhm.
I liked him coming out of. He came out of Michigan, right? Yeah, he came out of Michigan. Um, I don't think it's going to be as much rookie watch as it is going to be offensive line watch, especially with Joe Burrow coming in like his calf strain. I understand you're saying there's no damage to the actual calf; it was just a strain, whatever. But that's something you definitely have to take into consideration when you have a quarterback who has been known to be sack prone in his career.
Okay. Maybe the offensive line additions will help. I would say just by not having a massive hole is a big upgrade.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I think yeah. No, you're right about that. I will not slander the Bengals. I will not.
I will not slander the Bengals. All right. Now I know getting compliments about them hurts you deeply.
No, it's not that. It's just I they will understand our pain at Orlando Brown Jr. Good luck as a Bengal. That's all I have to say.
Oh, he okay. Do you think Orlando Brown Jr. is worse than what
No,
they have
I think it is an
planned
upgrade,
for?
but I think they're overestimating him. Is what that's all I have to say.
I think as long as he's average, that's what they're looking for. Are you saying like fan base or the team?
Fan base.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
fan, yeah, no, the fan base is like, oh, we won the Super Bowl off this. I'm like,
Gotcha. So something that I love is that every fan base in the NFL, all 32 of them, have fans that I swear are just NPCs that say the most wild shit about their team.
definitely,
And I usually just ignore those people because I just think of them as not as
yeah,
NPCs.
yeah,
Um, all right, let's keep it rocking and rolling. Let's go to Baltimore and Houston.
yeah.
This is gonna be a matchup of hopefully young and exciting quarterbacks.
Well,
Lamar Jackson. Well, I guess Lamar's still young.
no. I just meant, well, there's one exciting quarterback to watch, but yeah, you know,
I don't act like you didn't like CJ during the draft process.
you know, I think I definitely overestimated him, and going back and watching
You just went out.
before this, I think my mic actually plugged in. I think I actually felt it plug in there, so I hope it doesn't come out again. Um, Actually watching film because, admittedly, there was a 6 to 7 year stretch where I did not watch college football. I would watch it if it was on TV, but like loosely while I was playing on my phone. Um, I see why Ohio State quarterbacks have been so overrated because the system that they're in and the weapons that they have is ridiculous.
The offensive
Um,
line.
and offensive
Offensive
line.
line. Like
So,
Ohio State quarterbacks can just stand in the pocket for a fucking day and just fucking rip it whenever one of the 5-star wide receivers gets wide ass open. Um,
I think that C.J. Stroud will be one of the better of the prospects as an Ohio State quarterback, but uh, he has very obvious limitations of when a play breaks down. He is not very good at creating a play himself. We did see a little bit of his improv ability, especially in the second and third preseason games. Um, but playing against the Patriots, I think that was a real welcome to the fucking NFL moment for him. Um,
young quarterbacks against Bill Belichick. It's just
Not
never gonna
good.
be good. It's never gonna be great.
uh,
The only young quarterback I ever really saw get Bill Belichick was probably Colin Kaepernick. Second year starting with the 49ers, fucking got in a shootout with the Patriots and won.
you know, um,
Granted,
I don't remember that, but
that was a long time
I
ago.
believe you.
Literally Cap's second year as a starter.
Hmm. That then
Um,
that had to be like 2011, 2010.
yeah, something along those
Yeah.
lines. A very long time ago. I'm very excited to see Will Anderson play.
Yes.
From what I've seen from the preseason so far, he's everything as advertised. He is a legitimate edge rusher.
He is
is
a dog.
skinny Khalil Mack, and we are gonna just watch him just be an animal, and why the rest of the Houston Texans defense just crumbles. Not all of them. Jalen Petrie is very good.
Yes.
and hopefully they're good at corner this year.
Well, I am a big fan of at least two guys that the Texans had in their secondary. Petrie's one, and their corner. I always forget his name. I was high on him in the draft that he came out, but um, yeah, I absolutely could not agree with you more. I really love the absolute. Who? Oh, Derek Stingley. Yes, yes. Um, I love the very strong, definitive statement that you are going to generate a new culture here. You come out and you take someone that you hope can become your franchise quarterback. I'm not saying that he can't, but I'm saying that someone who's so propped up by a supporting cast that outclasses everyone that they play by such a drastic amount versus going to a shitty NFL franchise. I mean, let's be real. The Texans have been a shitty franchise for a long time. And then
A poverty franchise since day one, friend. Yes.
and then grabbing a defensive staple for a guy who knows defense inside and out, and not only a defensive staple in a really good player, but a guy who has obviously shown work ethic, drive, and the want to be him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I'm happy that the Houston Texans are really okay with just ignoring testing. I'm really happy about that because I really don't care about them as a franchise, so I'm okay watching them make mistakes for other people to learn from.
Oh
Hey,
no. Okay.
I think for the quarterback position and cognitive testing,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only position where I will actually let that test hold water. Because you need that reaction time. You need to be able to diagnose things as soon as you see it,
Yeah.
and I just don't think that's just not him. That's not that's not his strong suit. And Stroud is going to struggle year one, and honestly, I don't think he's ever going to be a good NFL quarterback. I think
It's
this is just going to be another swing and a miss for Houston. And I'm sorry that this has just turned into me dogging on CJ Stroud for a little bit. But I do think they're going to get ran through in this game by the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Their defense, Baltimore, is pretty damn good. They're going to get pressure. They're going to get pressure on
yes.
Stroud. He's going to probably turn the ball over a couple
At
times.
least twice.
At least twice.
Yeah, I mean, I think you are right on the money with that. I am absolutely with you. I think the other determining factor is Lamar is not the only piece on this offense this year. It's not just Lamar, and it's not just Lamar and Mark Andrews, who is questionably healthy at best. Um,
Mhm.
and that's just in general, not saying that I know anything about his health, but just he's been banged up recently. He's aging. Um, but they
Both
have.
players on both Lamar and Mark Andrews, both their best offensive players have been banged up. That's kind of just been the Ravens' MO for the past 2 years, not fucking healthy.
Well, and they just haven't added to the offense anything. And now you come out with
Explosion.
OBJ, who at this point in his career, if you have OBJ as a number two on your team, you're probably okay. You don't want him as your number one. But excuse me, they
I'm
have,
hoping to put him number three, honestly.
well, you're really high on Zay Flowers, and I will absolutely trust you on that. Um, they got Zay
Cleveland
Flowers,
Browns 2.0,
Rashad
baby.
Bateman, Devin Duvernay, uh, obviously Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. There's a lot of mouths to feed on that offense. So in terms of like fantasy production, not necessarily the offense that I would lean towards unless you are a Lamar Jackson fantasy manager, but the Ravens offense is looking to be very, very exciting. The only thing that's questionable for me is the running back room. Um,
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters either necessarily, but I think there's both the question of health, and I mean J.K. Dobbins, right? He really wants that contract
I think
extension.
I think a J.K. Dobbins Achilles is okay, and his ACL. If his lower half is good, I think he's gonna have a career year. I think
I
this
I
is gonna
don't
be the
doubt that.
best year of his career.
I don't doubt that at all. I mean, when you have so many facets on the offense that can take focus away from everything else, I think that's definitely valid. I don't think that's a bad take at all. I would quite agree with you. I mean, who's he sharing the backfield with? Gus Edwards? Like,
Pretty
you're
much
fine.
got the bar.
um,
Uh,
no
and
slander. We love you, but when that's when you're the only two, you're fine. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm excited to see all of the young players in this game. There's not My highlight would be Will Anderson. Your highlight would be Zay Flowers, I'm guessing. So.
I was gonna say Will Anderson. Even maybe even Tank Dell. Tank Dell might make a small appearance in this game. He's he's just also small as fuck.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
dude is 5'8", 165 pounds.
that's so
Like he's
crazy. He's
a
like,
player with that combination of height and like weight hasn't had over 800 yards since the like 80s or 90s. It has not happened since the year 2000.
yeah, I don't know. I we'll see.
He's gonna be such a fun punt returner though. It's gonna
Well,
be electric.
until he gets hit, and then it's
It'll be fine. It's just punt return. Like literally the I love about special teams. It's a combination of insane people
mhm.
and guys who are just trying to make the roster.
Oh, you know what I
By
just?
any means.
Well, that's absolutely true. I mean, you got some motherfuckers out there who are just like, I can hit as hard as I want. And
Fucking Brian Brayman that used to play the Eagles and the Texans. Honestly, you wouldn't know what position he actually played because you only have seen him play special teams. But the man looked like Thor and would just smack the living shit out of people.
I
Dude, anyone at home, go look up Brian Brayman special team highlights. Fucking fun to watch.
I will
Sorry,
do
I
that
kinda
after this.
hate
No, no,
that.
you're totally fine. I just before we get down this path, I just wanted to say we forgot to do Bengals Browns. Who wins?
Oh, Bengals.
You know, against my better judgment, I am going to
Bengals.
say Browns. I am not going to put any money on it. I'm not going to put any points on it. I'm just going to say I saw what Myles Garrett did last year. I do believe that they've upgraded, but I do believe Joe Burrow is still injured and nursing that calf.
Oh, also, they also upgraded opposite of Myles Garrett. We didn't really touch on this, but Zadarius Smith's getting traded over there.
Big
Huge for
Z,
Cleveland.
yeah, definitely.
Huge. Zeus going over there is going to be awesome for him. Now that we got that game back out of the way, sorry, we both got distracted. Texans, Ravens. I think we both are probably going to say the Ravens. Is that fair? You're unplugged. I can't hear shit you're saying.
No, no brainer. You're absolutely right. I would take the Ravens by 7. Yeah.
I'll take him by 14, damn it.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna. Remember when Lamar Jackson started his fucking MVP year against the Dolphins?
Oh
And
my
just
God.
had a perfect QBR rating, which is run up score on him.
Yeah, he had like 56 points in fantasy or something that week. It was just like
No
congratulations. Yeah.
rushing yards either, just all passing. It was great. I love that season started with Lamar just telling everyone, "I do throw the ball."
Didn't he had like 400? Let me just out of curiosity. That was 2019.
Yes.
Let's see. His first game, September 8th, 2019, he had 324 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
Absurd.
And a perfect passer rating.
Perfect passer rating. I remember him getting the game ball, and I was like, this kid's going to be special.
He's one of the few players that have more than one game of a perfect passer rating.
I didn't know Alex Smith had one. Did you know that?
One. Getting one is even amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's the only... No, there are 2 quarterbacks in Chiefs history, I believe. I could be wrong.
Right, Alex Smith and then someone just random as hell.
It was someone a long time ago. It might have just been someone who played for... I don't remember. I could just be talking out my ass on that one.
4 times.
Buccaneers Vikings. Let's talk about that.
So this game is definitely going to be a big question mark. It's going to be people not knowing what either of these rosters are.
No.
Like, the Buccaneers are probably nowhere near sniffing the fucking playoffs.
No. But when you
Unless
look
they-
at their roster as a
Division's
whole,
bad.
yeah.
Division's also bad. That's the other reason. Like, they probably don't know what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't know what Baker Mayfield is going to be for you. You don't know if you're starting Kyle Trask after 4 games because you're like, oh, fuck it, and trading Mike Evans off before the trade deadline. Right,
I
like,
think we know what we're getting with Baker Mayfield at this point.
okay.
I have a really good
Okay.
idea.
But in terms of how bad that division is, like, you definitely could make... I don't think they're winning the division, but they could make a wild card. That roster is good enough.
Wild
I'm
card.
saying if you
Wait,
have,
wait. Division, I feel like makes more sense to them to earn a wild card. I don't think they're gonna win enough games to be a wild card team.
I think the Saints win the division. This is what I'm saying though. If
Yeah,
that division turns out to be just a shit slop show,
will be. I'm gonna call it. I am calling it. No team in that division is gonna win 10 games.
well, and that's okay. I don't know about. We'll see about that. But I think like most divisions this year, it's going to be a race to 10 wins, and whichever team hits 10 wins first. I think one of those teams definitely could win 10 games, and it is most likely going to be the Saints or the Falcons. I don't think like I think one of those teams gets 10 wins. I really do. I understand the NFC's the disparity of skill and quality in the NFC is not what it is in the AFC. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all of that being said, I think for as bad as the Vikings defense is, their offense is probably going to be damn near number one in the league this year, or has to be for them to even sniff 8 wins. And I don't even know if they do that.
Yeah, I I don't think they do. I honestly think I already let it be known what I think of this division. I really think Tampa would struggle to even get to 6 wins. Just
If
took a quick look at their schedule. Nothing makes me feel good.
they have like one of the easiest schedules in the NFL though. Think about it like that. I understand nothing in that division makes you feel good.
There's no way. Okay, maybe on paper they do, but
Mm.
honestly, thinking about the matchups, like, no, there's not. Maybe
Okay, the the
Carolina or Houston.
the Buccaneers
Maybe.
last year, I understand big loss to the offensive line. I understand that. But when we look, okay, there's some obvious let's just go down the list here. Okay? Bears could go either way. Really, we don't know what the fuck the Bears are. So we'll just count that one as I don't know. The Vikings have no defense. If you're able to defend, if you can keep them under like 28, which I understand that's a difficult task with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, whatever the fuck running back they're playing. I understand. That's a difficult ask.
I think they're gonna drop the world on Tampa Bay's head.
They
I'm
can.
so worried about anyone on Tampa Bay being able to stick with Justin Jefferson. Right. And also be able to get consistent pressure on Kirk Cousins.
Okay, their schedule actually is difficult. I don't know. I was reading something earlier that was saying that this division, like the Saints and the Falcons, have like the top easiest. But yeah, actually looking at it, it's not the easiest. But I think this team is talented enough that you it would be difficult for them not to have at least 5 wins unless they start shipping off pieces.
Oh, they're gonna ship off pieces before the trade deadline. I think
Well,
Mike
and
Evans
that's
has gotten to the deadline. I
it
think
should be.
um, I think honestly, the most productive receiver is gonna probably be the rookie Trey Palmer.
And I am so glad I picked him up on every format I could.
You know, I dropped him, and we picked him up because I thought we were still doing the fat, and we're not going to talk about that. Um, regardless, I don't think Tampa Bay is very good. I
Yeah.
think that defense doesn't have enough pass rushers to be able to make really cash in on their
Mhm.
secondary. I think there's enough. Levante David is getting old as well. Like we're gonna just see this Tampa Bay team miss the playoffs, and they had a nice little run.
Yeah,
And
I agree with you. This is them paying the price for the Super Bowl, bringing in the
yeah,
older veteran players and sacrificing. This is the wake of Brady leaving. You bring in Baker Mayfield as your quarterback.
yeah, because Baker Mayfield is a lame duck quarterback. He is there to get taken out every week
Yep.
and to also see what on the roster is actually viable going forward. Is all this is gonna be.
I
And guess what?
think. Oh, what?
They bench him for Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask is just gonna be the same. because both of them have looked like equal garbage this season. This like preseason leading up to the actual season started.
What I think will be the deterministic factor in this game, I think the Vikings, even with the Bucks injury, I think the Vikings still somehow have the worst offensive line. I think if either team is going to establish the run, I think it would be the Buccaneers, just because I don't know. I believe in Rashad White more than I believe in Alexander Madison. I really do. Um, yeah, I really, this will not be a game that I'm like actively watching. I'll probably be watching like Red Zone or something to see every time Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison scores. Jordan Addison is definitely my rookie to watch in this game because I really think that he's going to take on that Adam Thielen, especially in the red zone or like when JJ's getting doubled, getting that yardage that's needed role, like the old Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen combination. I think that's really what we're going to see. But I think that he's much better than Thielen.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit more savvy. I wouldn't say more savvy. I would say he's just quicker, just a little bit more quick than Adam Thielen.
A much higher physical upside for sure than than Thielen ever offered.
Yeah, Thielen was actually a decent athlete. I feel like it's just he was an older player even coming to the NFL. His peak just wasn't very long.
Well, and he had to share it with Diggs is the other.
As the other receiver for a
Yeah.
little bit. And then Justin Jefferson right after that. He really had no time as being the true number one wide receiver over there.
Carolina, baby. Yeah. I think
Is he even number one there?
DJ Chark is more likely to pan out as the number one in Carolina than.
That whole division, just, no. I don't even want to watch it. But yeah, give me Minnesota 35-14.
Wow.
I really think they're just gonna steamroll this Tampa Bay team. I think the Bucks are gonna be sad.
You know what? Let me write this down because it's not very often that we disagree. So I'm actually taking the Bucks here. I really am. Um, and again, I think it's strictly just because I believe in them more to establish the run. That's literally and it's not a strong belief, but
Not a strong belief, but it's a belief.
all right. There are our two differences so far, so let's move on to the Panthers Falcons. Again, I would not place any points on this game. Don't care. Panthers Falcons, not really. Me personally, I feel like there's not a lot to talk about in this game. I feel like the Panthers have some really, really good pieces, and the Falcons have a lot of really good pieces. It's just seeing, can either of these teams put fucking anything together? I think Miles Sanders is actually going to find some success. People hate on the Panthers' offensive line. I understand it's gotten worse, but like,
They played bad in preseason.
yeah, well, I understand that, but I understand Miles Sanders is nowhere near the caliber of athlete that Christian McCaffrey is. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying with a rookie quarterback and an offensive line that understands that they have to establish a run in order to score at all, I don't think this is going to be a terrible year for Miles Sanders.
Oh, I feel like Miles Sanders is going to be a real nice volume play for anyone that's looking to get him in fantasy. He'll be a solid RB2 to flex option.
And God knows they will not be quarterback sneaking with Bryce Young. He would snap in half and blow into the wind. It's not happening.
Miles Sanders is also your like short yardage option. Oh, gross! Just fucking.
I know. He's a tight end at that point.
The fact that Brian Burns might not fucking play this first game for Carolina because they can't figure out his contract when fucking the Rams were offering a first round pick plus last year at the deadline. Why didn't you just fucking move it?
I know.
Like, they should have just fucking moved him. I'm sorry. And, like, I get it. Everyone wants that top 10 edge guy. Fuck it. This roster is bad. Like, this offensive line is bad. You just drafted a quarterback. You're going to draft a quarterback at first overall.
Yeah.
And this offensive line is going to
trade up to draft the quarterback first overall. Give up more. And, yeah, give up your only viable weapon on offense to trade for a very aged wide receiver 2 in Thielen, an injured DJ Chark, whatever the fuck else you got.
Oh yeah, but you know what? If you want a rookie to feel good about on offense outside of Bryce Young for the Carolina Panthers, like, at least you gotta feel good about. Sorry, I
No, you're fine.
just having a massive brain fart here. Um, Jonathan Mingo of
Oh,
Ole
for
Miss,
sure.
solid, very physical player, 220 pounds, has great NFL size, and hopefully can give Bryce Young someone to throw the ball to in the red zone. Um, Hayden Hurst might be a decent play offensively. I'm just not very excited for this team. I don't
No.
think the Carolina Panthers are going to be good either. I have no faith in this division. I think the Falcons will be fun to watch offensively. Arthur Smith is a great OC, very good at coming up with cool things to do on offense. Also, they added the best running back in the draft class, John Robinson, to the most efficient run game in the NFL.
It's
They're
when
stacking
you
strength on
take
strength.
a fifth round pick last year and you give him over 1,000 yards in a system, and then you take like a generational prospect and put them behind that line in a system that is like really. I think if Drake London saw volume, he had the potential to be a top 10 receiver in the NFL. I think he's right now, I would put him inside top 25 for sure, maybe top 20. But like he's not going to see that volume just because they have such an established run game. And now that Kyle Pitts is coming back, and I'm knocking on wood that he's healthy, because I have him in every format. I love watching Kyle Pitts. I love hearing him talk. He's such a fun player. Seems like a genuinely really, really good guy. Um, this offense has like all of the pieces that they need to succeed. They just need defense to stay healthy, and they need to use their offense in a meaningful way. Please.
We just want to see it in the passing game. I think that's more or less it.
We understand why we didn't last year.
Because Marcus Mariota shouldn't be in the NFL anymore. He's a USFL, XFL quarterback, and Desmond Ridder, I think, is going to have a great season.
Yeah.
And I do think Drake London's going to get some volume, just because Desmond Ridder, we saw it when he was at Cincinnati. He loves to just pepper his top talented guys with targets, and will just give them a chance and just throw it up to them. Helps that Drake London's like 6'4",
6'5", yeah, literally.
at that range, and so fluid, moves super well for being that size. Great at getting in and out of his cuts. I'm just really excited to see this team. A really understated move that they made was they made a trade with the Patriots for Arthur Smith's former tight end that he had
Jonnu?
over with the Titans. I am
Jonnu
so
Smith?
terrible. That's Jonnu Smith, who should be a great piece for them in the run game and also gain some good yak yardage for them. Right.
So,
I do think the Falcons are going to
Yep.
fucking blow the doors off of them.
at least
21-7.
7 points. I would put at least 7 points on it, yeah.
I think 21-7. I think Bryce can at least score his first NFL touchdown.
And
But
he
that'll
might
be-
try to run it in, too. He might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might. I mean, the Falcons aren't like a world beater, like defensively, so by
No.
any means. So I
Let's go AJ
Would be-
Terrell. That's
AJ,
it.
AJ
That's-
Terrell's a dog.
That's the only
But
person
yeah.
I can name on their defense. That's it. No, that's not true. They're
It's Finn.
They're
It's fair.
their edge. No, they have a pretty good edge player. I'm trying to think. I'm just sleepy.
I'm just sleepy.
I'm so sorry. I was watching their TikToks on their page last night because I was just thinking I'm actually excited to watch the Falcons. Who's ever said that in their life other than maybe 2017? Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. Wait, Calvin Ridley was 2018, was I don't know. Anyway. Oh yeah, true. My bad. Yeah, I guess. Sorry about
All
that.
those years, or maybe the years with Deion Sanders there too.
Okay, all right. Look, who from my
Falcons have
generation?
Okay, the Falcons have had a lot of really exciting teams.
Who from my generation has said that? Okay, unless you were actually a Falcons fan, but why would you be a Falcons fan for the past? My bad. Anyway,
Okay, since we're gonna dog the Falcons a little bit, So we give some of their defensive players some love. They signed Jesse Bates from
From
Cincinnati this
Cincinnati. Yep.
offseason. He should be a great safety for him. Calais
Yes.
Campbell came over in free agency. Of course, Grady Jarrett has had an amazing career over there. If Grady Jarrett was on a team that had a lot of success, he would honestly get talked about the way that like Fletcher Cox gets talked about.
That's valid. Yeah,
And
he's
just
definite Ring of Honor player.
yeah, he's gonna be a Ring of Honor player. Maybe eventually we'll get in. Probably not, but
Probably not. Yeah, unfortunately. And it's not that it's not deserved. It's just not represented
defensive tackle.
adequately.
Yeah, I mean, defensive tackles just aren't noticed. For the most
Well,
part.
and when they are, it's like 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Like that's.
You need to be doing like ridiculous shit.
Speaking of ridiculous shit, yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the Falcons don't score more than 21, but I think it could be like 21 to 10, 21 to 14. I don't really see the Panthers doing that much offensively, but I don't really see the Falcons carrying that much defensively. Cardinals Commanders is going to be. Listen, if there was ever a team.
Starting at quarterback. You know. I don't know. You don't know.
Cardinals
NFL
fans.
doesn't know.
Cardinals fans have it rough enough as it is, so I am going to say, the rookie receiver. Sorry, 1 second. Marissa is texting me.
Jonathan Gannon doesn't even know who's going to start over there.
I
Still trying to figure it out.
okay.
Gotta decide fucking Thursday. I like that theory more than they're trying to get a competitive advantage. Is that Jonathan Gannon just doesn't fucking know yet?
Honestly, if you hear him
Probably
talk,
not,
if
but
you
it's
hear
fun.
him talk, I don't know.
He's wild. That's for damn sure. Okay, both of the Eagles coordinators that got head coaching jobs during the offseason, wild human beings. I am not shocked they made it to the Super Bowl because guys in the NFL like to play for coaches that are a little fucking crazy.
It adds to the fun.
Like I feel like to be a good NFL coach, you got to be a little psychotic.
Definitely. And speaking of psychotic, what the fuck is gonna go on in Washington? Like Washington is my biggest like question mark in the NFL this year because they have so many pieces that could lead them to great success, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Offensive line, that's a question mark. Quarterback, that's a question mark. Which running back are you going to use? That's a question mark because you have 3 of them that are actually pretty good. Which wide receiver is going to be targeted the most that week? Are you going to use Curtis Samuel until he withers up? Or are you just going to splatter Terry and Jahan Dotson? I think this is Jahan Dotson's breakout year. To be honest with you, and I'm saying this in a loving way, I can name one rookie from the Commanders, and it's the corner that they drafted too highly. Wasn't it Forbes? Emmanuel Forbes? Yeah. I love him.
Forbes is going to be great for him.
I think he'll be great for them as well. I think any adequate corner in that system, with how much pressure their defensive line applies, should be relatively successful. And when you plug a good cornerback in there, I think it'll be fine. That being said,
their back end actually wasn't that bad last year. Their defense as a whole was not bad last
year. Their secondary overperformed expectations. But they just had no consistency on offense, I guess would be the best way that I can say that. Cardinals, I will say this as nicely as I can. This is really going to be the Tank Bowl, and then it's I can't say whether they're going to grab Caleb or whether they're going to get, like you say, the King's ransom for that pick. The only thing that I can really say positively about the Cardinals, I really like Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson could be very nice as a rookie.
I believe I was doing some reading on him. He was like my sleeper in this class. In terms of fantasy, obviously there's a lot of talent in the actual draft, but in terms of like a late round snag that I targeted in every draft as Michael Wilson, big body guy. If they do stick with Kyler, he really likes those big body receivers that can be a downfield threat. Michael Wilson isn't the crazy fastest guy, but he definitely has long arms, big body. I think he can kind of help to fill that role that DeAndre Hopkins played.
Went to Stanford, so you know he's a smart guy. Like honestly, you can give him a more complex role to do, and he'll be able to pick up what he needs to do on the field.
I do believe
And
he struggled with injuries in college, though, and I believe that's why he fell a little bit in the draft. But
when he was on the field, he averaged like 2.3 yards per route run in college. It's pretty damn good. I only played 14 games the past 3 years. So yes,
Jesus.
all the points you said are very true. I think Paris Johnson Jr., who they took at
Oh,
6
yes.
overall, is going to be a very good tackle for him.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, right. Well, I think a lot of people did. I think the Cardinals did absolutely the best thing possible, trading out of number 2 with the Houston Texans, because they still got probably the tackle they were going to take there anyway. And they got an extra pick for this upcoming year to help try to rebuild this very depleted roster. Like you said, I don't think the Cardinals are going to move off of Kyler Murray just because it kind of fucks you more than it helps you, honestly. Like you're in a hole with the cap without him. Why would you also bring in that rookie quarterback who even though Caleb Williams is going to be a phenom, I do think he's going to be good off the jump. I don't think day one he's going to be as good as Kyler is.
No.
At this point.
With Kyler's rushing upside, do you think he's a top 8 to 10 quarterback? I think, yeah. Oh, in fantasy, absolutely.
In real life, yeah, I think Kyler can be a top 10 quarterback.
I think at worst, when healthy, top 12 is still fair criticism. If you're looking exclusively as a passer, he's still definitely better than average.
I would really like to see him in an offense with some playmakers without Cliff Kingsbury calling plays.
Yeah, I really want to see him as a Viking. I really do.
I really want to see him as a Viking.
Or a Dolphin.
I don't think Dolphins would be dope. I think either option would be dope. I just don't think the Cardinals can do it.
No.
It's not even a choice of would. I think it's a choice of can, and they're just kind of handcuffed. I do think the Washington Commanders end up winning this game by at least 10, like
Yeah.
24-14.
That's exactly. Yeah, I was thinking like 24-10, to be honest with you. Yeah,
Like James Conner has like 60 yards rushing, 2 TDs.
James Conner is like a huge sleeper in redraft this year. If you can snag James Conner, if he can stay healthy, again, knocking on wood, because I love the guy, everything that he's gone through, truly inspirational, but you just know his limitations.
Is it fair to say better story than a player? Like how Michael Orr was. Sorry for anyone who's recently learned about all the blind.
That's so sad. Yeah, I
Are we shocked that an upper middle class white family from Tennessee would pull this shit? Are we shocked? Sorry, upper middle class white people from Tennessee.
Nothing
like a state known for historic racism.
You know, we could make a whole other show about that.
We could make a whole other stuff about. No one wants to hear 2 white guys talk about systemic racism, Brett.
It's something that needs to be talked about, for sure.
It is.
But
we're not who should be bringing the message.
Well, I think it's important to hear from all people, because unfortunately, I won't get too into this, but unfortunately, I think I completely understand what you're saying, by the way. But I think it's something that definitely is an important acknowledging that implicit versus explicit and the systemic issue as a whole, indirect and direct contribution. I think that being able to acknowledge that and talk about that is a really important part of the culture itself, and eventually, hopefully, dismantling and dismembering that elitist culture.
So, no, that's just a point for a different podcast. It's not ours. So
Jaguars, Colts.
The Commanders. So we both took the Commanders. Move on the Jaguars, Colts.
We'll get through these last ones a little bit faster. We were just excited because it's the first one in a while.
I know. Um, I'm excited to watch this Jaguars team. They are probably my number one team in the NFL going in this year. I think if I had to put my money on who's going to win the Super Bowl this year, it might be the Jags. Pure dark horse, but I think they legitimately have a shot.
That would certainly be a dark horse. I mean, I think there are a lot of question marks. It's a very young team, and when your expected number one receiver, they were fine without him last year, but when your expected number one receiver hasn't played football in damn near 2 years, um, Calvin Ridley, I love Calvin Ridley. I was a big fan when he was a Falcon.
Great.
He looks great. I absolutely agree with you, but I don't know. He's a big question mark for me. Everybody's saying, "Oh, he's a top 5 guy in fantasy this year. If you can snag him in the first 3 rounds, you're winning your league." I'm not saying that I disagree with you, but I'm putting him in the same conversation as a healthy Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp. Putting him in the same conversation as those guys, I'm saying from not playing football in 2 years, as great as he looks, that's a little ridiculous.
There's a whole round difference of fantasy between those guys, though.
There
There's a
should
whole
be.
round difference.
There should
And,
be.
and there is. And there is. But here's the thing. As of right now, I would rather have Calvin Ridley as my wide receiver than Cooper Kupp.
Oh well, no shit. He's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, the health part matters. But also, I really do think Calvin Ridley is healthy and he's ready to explode. The last couple of years when he was with the Falcons and actually played a full year was absolutely fantastic.
He had 1,000 yards in 2021, 2020, 2020. I okay. We know the Jaguars are good. We watched them come down from what 23 or 27 last year against the Chargers. We understand that, and they probably only got better this year. Let's talk about what we really want to talk about: the Colts, Anthony Richardson. Let's talk about the running back room too, because this is kind of an important thing.
Mess. It's a fucking mess. Jonathan
Yeah.
Taylor's contract situation spilling out into the regular season. They tried finding a trade partner for him. They gave him the deadline that was cut day. They couldn't find anyone that was willing to pay the ridiculous prices the Colts were asking for Jonathan Taylor. And now he's on the pup list and can't play the first 4 games of the season.
Do you think Jonathan Taylor's actually hurt?
I think define hurt. I do think that I think there's something that needs to be cleaned up with the ankle still.
Yeah.
I don't think that is fully 100%.
I think he could play.
I think he's good to go.
Yeah.
I think he's good to play.
I don't think he's 100%, but I think he's good to play.
I think he's literally just hurt enough that the Colts wouldn't get fined if they got investigated by the NFLPA.
Probably. I wouldn't disagree with you there.
I think they did everything they could to put as much leverage as they could as an organization. To be frank, even though I'm not a big pay the running backs guy, I would just fucking paid him.
Just bite the bullet. You don't need to. Yeah.
What you were offering him, if you would have offered him like 11, 12 mil a year, it's fine because you still have Anthony Richardson on his rookie contract. What you're saving there is money you could put towards that position if you wanted to.
Literally. Yeah.
Granted, I do think the Colts are doing the right thing.
Well,
There's, like, you also can't hamstrung yourself in these kind of situations either. Like, you can't just allow yourself to just get ran through in a negotiation.
That's a really interesting. We should have this topic as a separate show, like a separate podcast, like a cap hit podcast. Yeah.
We can definitely do a contract dispute episode. We'll talk about that. I'll save a little bit more of this for that then. But I really hope we get to see Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson in this backfield because that'll be so fucking explosive.
And an offensive line that's had another year to develop together. I think that's the other important part because
were in 2022. Well, 2021, 22, not last year. Last year's line sucked.
Yeah.
But also they had left tackle that they were rotating, a journeyman left tackle and a rookie. So that wasn't really helping. Matt Ryan was holding on to the ball forever and also fumbling if anyone ever came near him.
Yeah.
The Colts were in full tank mode last year. They knew
Definitely.
that as soon as they had Jeff Saturday come on.
I don't think it's any stretch to say I believe that they got the best quarterback in the draft by far, not the most ready quarterback by necessary metrics. Did you hear, actually? I watch the Pat McAfee show when I can. I used to listen to it every day when I went to the gym just because the times lined up when I had free time in my day. But did you see the Josh Allen episode?
I haven't.
He leaked that Anthony Richardson, you know the laser thing that he did to improve his accuracy and precision? He
Mm-hmm.
leaked that Anthony Richardson went and did the same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, um,
Doesn't surprise me.
it doesn't
You,
surprise me at all either.
if I was Anthony Richardson, if I was a member of the Colts staff, I want him to do fucking everything Josh Allen's doing. That's the model. That's the model you're
Absolutely.
looking for.
No question. You know what? I have a fun question for you too. Do the Colts have a number one receiver? Really?
God,
You don't think that Michael Pittman could be a 1,000-yard receiver?
number two. Michael Pittman is a
Okay.
number two. He may
Okay.
put up stats
Yeah.
because let's be real, targets need to go somewhere. He's not winning at times where you need him to win.
Do you
Down,
think
red zone, crucial situations. If teams are going to be focusing on him, he's not going to be able to pull it out.
as a complimentary piece, do you think he could have a 1,000-yard season?
Yeah, I mean, I think he had thousands. I think he didn't he come fucking didn't he have 1,000 yards last year?
It could have been.
Yeah, because I know he was peppered with targets.
2021 he did. I was gonna say last year I thought he was just under. He was like 875 or something. 925 last year.
But no, I think Pittman is a number two, number three. I don't think there's a single number one wide receiver on that whole team. I think Alec Pierce is another just nice piece, not consistent enough hands to really be a true number one. If I was the Colts this year, because you kind of just want to see what you have with AR with the current receiving core, but during the all season, I'm trading for a wide receiver one.
Oh,
Or I'm going
definitely.
to see if I can get one out of the draft.
Why don't they just trade for Mike Evans?
Doesn't match up with the timeline.
Yeah, that's fair. You don't want to bring in an aging receiver to build. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because like you want some guy that's like legit, just fresh in his prime, or a guy that's gonna grow with AR.
You know what? The Colts could end up still being so bad as a team with no run game outside of their quarterback that they end up with like a Marvin Harrison or Brock Bowers or some really quality player there, and that's
And you know what? This is a draft class where there's gonna be a bunch of good skill position players.
yeah.
We saw Keon Coleman literally on Sunday night for FSU torch LSU during that game. By the way, if anyone wants to catch some good college football this year, just check out some FSU games. That team is legit and built in the portal.
Literally, yeah. Um,
And I guess Colorado is also must-watch TV.
for this though, do you think there's anything really specifically to highlight? I think the only really interesting thing, I mean, obviously rookie quarterback for the Colts, physical specimen.
I would say how the Jaguars defense plays is going to be something that I'm personally watching.
Yeah.
This is a unit that kind of really let them down last year at several points. If they can just hold up enough to where Trevor Lawrence doesn't have to be in shootouts, and you can put T-Law in situations to
Yeah.
have game-winning drives at the end of the game, I think they're in a good spot.
I agree. So we're both taking the Jaguars.
We're both Jaguars here. I think it's gonna I think it's gonna be closer than people think. I think the Jaguars are gonna edge out 28-21.
Wow. Okay.
I think Anthony Richardson, as an individual human being, can put up fucking points. I think he's up
Yeah.
there with some elite quarterbacks when it comes to just being able to get the ball in the paint.
Mm.
But the consistency's not going to be there.
Maybe I stand a little bit further out on this. I think the Jaguars are going to step on the gas a little bit here because they really want to see what they have. So I have more looking like a 28 to like 14 game.
Okay.
I mean maybe like 28 to 17. I just don't think that the Colts offense is going to produce enough with just Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. But we'll see. If their running game shows up with Deion Jackson and Evan Hall, it might just be good.
49ers
Well,
Steelers?
I just wanted to highlight
Oh,
one Jaguars rookie real quick.
yeah.
Anton Harrison, tackle for him. Hopefully, he can be a good offensive tackle for him.
Out
That
of
could be a
Tennessee,
big
right?
break. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
No, not Tennessee, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. My bad. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Tennessee went to Steelers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's the game we're about to cover
I
now.
had
So that's
Steelers on my mind. You know, what can I say?
Steelers on your mind. So Pittsburgh Steelers, 49ers. Um, so this game's gonna be really interesting because the Steelers, honestly, if Kenny Pickett is better than I will ever give him credit for, it can be a really good team this year. This is
I
a
think if he's
deep
even adequate,
Steelers team.
I think this is going to be the year that George Pickens really fucking shows out.
You're gonna hate me. It is actually Broderick Jones, the Steelers drafted from Georgia.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Wait, so I was right?
Darnell Wright went to Chicago.
You know,
Tennessee tackle went to Chicago.
I think I was thinking of our mock draft and how that went, to be honest with
Probably.
you.
We also did a million mocks.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't even know that we also did them not on here.
Oh my God, I know. We did like 2 off show too. Yeah, it was an experience. 49ers Steelers. Right. I think that the 49ers with a serviceable, adequate quarterback are the second best team in the NFC by a wide margin and a top 5 at worst team in the NFL. I would still argue top 5. I think the Eagles are the best, most complete roster in the NFL. I think the 49ers are probably somewhere in the 2 to 4 range. Um, I don't think that anything the Steelers can do will win them this game. They would really have to light the 49ers up. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it's unheard of, but I just don't see it personally happening. Yeah, I think the 49ers win this one.
I think the 49ers also win it, but I do think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be within a touchdown, like somewhere between 3 and 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
Bosa is still not returned. I know we're going to save contract talk for another episode, but that's massive. That is your best defense. That's your best player. Period.
I think Christian McCaffrey could be in that discussion. I really do, just because of everything that he does.
Oh, okay. Best player if you also account for positional value.
Okay.
I'll throw that in.
All right, fair. Okay.
I will say McCaffrey is very impactful. We saw the impact he made as soon as he got fucking there. Like legit, didn't they go on like a 4 or 5 game win streak?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
And actually, he actually played the same week he got traded too. It was fucking wild. Man, I am so nervous for how the 49ers are going to be this year. They could be really bad.
Yeah.
And
It just
also,
depends on Brock.
Depends on Brock. And honestly, the Steelers in this game might not give him anything in the run game.
Probably not.
Also, rookie Keenan Benton from Wisconsin has been playing his fucking ass off and playing real well next to Cameron Hayward. I'm so excited to watch the Steelers defense because I hate the Steelers as an organization. I think they're kind of sleazy.
Yeah.
I fucking love Mike Tomlin. And the way his defense is built is just the way I like to build it. Build it on the edges early on in the draft, and then later on in the draft, add depth to the interior guys, and eventually you're just going to find some dudes that stick, and I fucking love that.
For the Steelers to draft so well offensively, you wouldn't think that they'd have as good of a defense as they do. Like, the Steelers almost always hit on running back and wide receiver.
I would definitely say wide receiver.
Wide receiver, 100%. Well, I mean, Najee's not like a bust. Like, he does what they ask him to do. He hasn't been injured either.
I think Najee's a bust, not even because his fault, just because he shouldn't have been selected there. Like, he just shouldn't. He just was a reach. It was a reach.
Well,
the Steelers were flawed in so many other ways.
Yeah.
At that time.
What do you think?
Moore was the best running back in that room, so that's my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I'm right there with you on that. Najee Harris
Um,
just uses his size to compensate for the fact that he has bad vision.
and feet.
And, well, uh,
Like legitimately, if the man wasn't the size of a fucking bus.
well,
um,
speaking of running back the size of a bus, honestly, I feel like these next 4 games we can just kind of lump together and make the picks for because I feel like for the most part they're really not going. They're going to be mostly one-sided picks. Titans Saints. Um, I think
I'm
we
saying we're relying on Derrick Henry to hopefully still be Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins to not blow out a knee
and the
and go back.
secondary to not die. Yeah, the Titans had like 12 guys injured in their secondary last year. Like, what the fuck?
And it's really funny. They picked Peter Skronsky at pick 11. I don't even think he's playing fucking tackle for him. Pretty sure
I
he's
don't.
playing
He's
guard.
yeah, I think so
Fucking
too.
off. He
Yeah.
wasn't okay, Zach Martin wasn't even a top 11 pick. Like, fucking hell on earth.
Um,
Um,
I think the Saints win this game. I'm excited to see the step that Chris Olave takes in year 2, and with a better, more consistent quarterback, Derek Carr stepping in. You have Michael Thomas back, who I honestly in redraft, Derek Carr was one of my targets, but I didn't
mhm.
end up getting him. I think this is going to be a really interesting offense, and I think the offense alone and the fact that they have weapons that if they can stay healthy, this team should be able to survive until Kamara gets back and then thrive.
And also solid defense as a whole. I offensive line is probably the weakness for this team. Interior offensive line
Yeah.
isn't great, and also left tackle can be a problem. I'm Ramchek on the right side though. Great right tackle. Never have to worry about that motherfucker. But
But left tackle,
left tackle, yeah. A lot of people liked their left tackle last year when he was a rookie. Also, he was just a rookie last year.
another year in the system, another year of experience, and with a better quarterback than the Red Rocket himself, I think it'll be better.
Trevor Penning will hopefully be okay.
I actually like him too. I think he'll pan out a little bit better, but in terms of, I mean, it was just a rough rookie year, but
How I'll put this out there: there is not many good rookie offensive line seasons.
especially at left tackle.
A
Yeah.
left tackle as well. Like when they usually happen, the guy usually also wins offensive rookie of the year because of how fucking hard it is to do. All right, so real quick, Saints rookies to watch for this matchup. Brian Breeze is a good defensive tackle. Plays with great speed, fluidity for being over 300 pounds. Um, Titans. Like I
Will
said, Bears.
Levis, watch
Oh
him on
yeah,
the bench. Watch him on the bench.
yeah, Mayo Boy got his got his fucking Hellman's endorsement, so he's making money from that. I actually really hope we get to see some Tajay Spears this season.
Oh, for sure.
I think he's an electric runner, and probably won't this year, but next year hopefully.
What?
Because
Yeah.
they're gonna let Derrick Henry have like 300 carries.
Both of my to watch players in this game are tight ends. Chigume's Okonkwo and Jawan Johnson. I think both of those guys are going to be tight ends that are really going to step up in their respective systems this year, mostly because the Titans can't rely on Derrick Henry all year. He will break down eventually. And again, I'm knocking on wood. Love the king, but
Can't wait for Taysom Hill to just be the best player on the field during this game. There's like a little 50-50 shot Taysom Hill just takes over randomly in a quarter and then the game's over.
yeah,
Hill will score like 2 bullshit touchdowns. He'll be everyone's tight end. He'll finish like tight end 10.
yep, yes, he
Like
will.
3
And
weeks.
it's from like 2 outlier weeks, and it's just like whatever the fuck. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, we
Remember
love
what he
him.
had to get reclassified as a quarterback on ESPN because people were just abusing him in the tight end spot. So, speaking of getting abused in the quarterback spot, neither of these teams know what the fuck they're doing. The Raiders and the Broncos.
So yeah, both Saints probably by a lot.
I would say by, honestly, I'm just gonna go by 4. I feel confident by 4. More than that, I don't know.
I think by 4 is a good answer. I'll say by 7.
I wanted to say a full touchdown, but honestly, Derrick Henry can just go off any given week.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't think the Saints defense is trash. I don't think Demario Davis is gonna get ran through like those guys on the Jaguar defense a couple years ago that aren't even in the league anymore.
scrubs.
Scrubs. So what game are we going to next?
Raiders
Raiders
Broncos. Yeah, let's do the AFC West here.
A vomit in my mouth.
Okay.
I do think the Broncos defense is gonna be fine. They have a bunch of really good pieces.
Does Devonte Adams cook Pat Surtain again?
Cook? I don't know. Maybe. I think Patrick Surtain like is one of the best corners in the NFL, like a top
Same.
5 corner. I'm gonna venture no, just because I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is a talented enough quarterback to really make that happen.
I don't think he's a healthy enough quarterback to make that happen.
You know what? The Raiders probably hope he's not.
He
What
barely
did-
passed his physical.
would be the dopest thing possible for this Raiders team,
Got injured immediately. Started Aiden O'Connell all year.
or Jimmy G just sucks it up for the entire year. They get the first overall pick, and then Caleb Williams is there next year. They have no guarantees for Jimmy going forward. I mean, shit.
I'm
Mad.
hoping. I hope
He's-
Aiden O'Connell. I hope he pans out.
You're saying that because you don't want to see Caleb Williams twice a year?
No, I would love to see, even if it's a
That would
rival
be
team.
awesome.
I would love to see the most electric division in football,
Because imagine that division: Mahomes, Herbert, and Williams.
and
All
whatever
the
the
same
fuck the
division.
Broncos get to do eventually.
They're just gonna keep rolling out Russell Wilson.
I wish they wouldn't, but I think the Broncos defense is better than the Raiders offense. I think Josh Jacobs is really the only bright side. I mean, Devonte Adams, but you have to have a quarterback to function to get to a receiver. I think Devonte has still put up a decent stat line. I think he could have like 70 yards maybe, but Jimmy Garoppolo is just not good. He's adequate at best, and he's not healthy. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair just because I mean, maybe the Broncos just fucking rain hell on them. You never honestly know. Sean Payton
With all their healthy wide receivers.
hey, you know what? They have one.
Cortland Sutton.
It's Cortland Sutton
And
and
then
Marvin Mims,
Marvin
baby.
Mims.
Marvin Mims.
Marvin Mims. I think the fantasy community wants Marvin Mims to be better than he's gonna be.
That's very, very possible. I tried to get him in every league I could, especially Dynasty. But, you know, it's just a shot in the dark. Just because Jerry Jeudy has the health of a rubber band that's been sitting in the sun for 10 years. And Tim Patrick, it's just an unfortunate injury. Yeah.
Second year in a row for Tim Patrick too. Like
Poor
that's
guy.
probably his career.
And
TBH.
It was the same knee, wasn't it? Or was it the opposite knee but same injury? I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. It was the same injury. It was like it was his knees. Like it's fucked. It's done.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Broncos. It's the same thing as like our conversation with the Vikings and the Giants last year. It's like I said, I think the Giants are gonna win that playoff game. I don't know how they're going to score. I don't know how the Broncos are gonna score. But the Raiders have just been. I don't know what the Raiders are gonna do.
It's honestly which overrated play caller is gonna fucking do better, Sean Payne or oh God, Josh McDaniels. God damn it, terrible names tonight. But honestly, I'm gonna take the Raiders. Raiders by 3.
Really? Okay.
I think Max Crosby takes over this game.
Very interesting.
I think Crosby can take over the game. Russell Wilson, I don't think is a good enough quarterback to really get it done. I think Jimmy G and the run game that the Raiders have are good enough to get him a 3-point win.
Hey, man. I marked it down.
I legitimately think the Raiders' wide receiver room is not bad.
Oh, I agree.
I think they're legitimately good there, and also Cole Kmet at tight end I think he's gonna be great. I think legitimately they may have stumbled upon Rob Gronkowski.
Wait, who? You said Cole Kmet. That's for the Bears.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong
No,
Notre
you're
Dame
good.
tight end. Wrong Notre Dame tight end.
For the Raiders or for the Broncos?
The Raiders. Michael Mayer.
Michael Mayer. That's
Michael
okay. Yeah.
Mayer, I think, is legit going to be like could be like the next Rob Gronkowski for him. Big body tight end, can do it all.
Well, they got a former Patriots quarterback, so let's see what they can do.
And offensive coordinator.
All right. Well,
And wide receiver.
we
I
agree to
mean,
disagree on that one. Not about the tight end. About the game though. I just
you don't think they can pull off a 3-point win?
I think it's going to be a 3-point loss. To be entirely honest, I mean, I love Daniel Carlson. I think he's going to be the only way the Raiders score this year. I just think it's going to be a very low-scoring affair.
It could be. And honestly, I'll take the team that has a more reliable kicker at that point.
That's also very. What is it? Evan McPherson for the Broncos is still pretty good.
McPherson plays for the Bengals, and Brandon McMahon is got
Brandon
cut.
McMahon. That's the one.
He's not even anymore. They don't go.
Hold on. Oh, they have Will Lutz.
Yeah, they traded for the Saints old kicker.
Well, that does sway things slightly in my mind, but I'll still take the Broncos. I'll just take them by one.
I'm staying by one. Okay, I'll still take the Raiders. Let's go on to our next game.
Eagles, Patriots.
Eagles, Patriots. Give me Philly, but it's going to be closer than people think. I really think this Patriots defense is going to be legit again. And I think they're going to be good enough to at least contain this offense to where they just aren't going to have a bunch of explosive plays on them.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Eagles having to, like,
chip
turn and burn through, like, 12-play drive type shit, like 7-play drives, like, really going.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Patriots offensively, there's not really a lot to talk about. I mean, we'll probably see their offense look slightly better than it did last year just because they have an offensive coordinator. But that's just not saying much.
Smith-Schuster's knee could fall apart at any point. If you trust what Albert Greer is saying.
Yeah, Tyquan Thornton's injured. There's just a lot of guys on that Patriots. The only guy I trust for anything on the Patriots roster is Ramondre. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, for real life production. I don't even trust him for fantasy ever since Zeke showed up.
I do. In PPR, I still do.
Yeah.
Bro's going to finish the year with 100 receptions.
Only thing that's going to happen... Oh, 100 receptions?
No, I'm kidding. But like
holy shit.
At
that's
least...
what Michael Pittman had last year.
At least 60.
At least 60. I could see that. I don't... Yeah, I don't believe in this Patriots offense. I do think the Eagles will win this game. I think it's going to be very similar to the one they played the Texans last year, where they're going to be slowed down, but they're still going to just chug out this game. Like, they're going to feel like they're in control still.
Yeah. My little guy's going ham back there.
I know. They're just going brazy. I think Christian Gonzalez could make an impact, though.
Definitely.
Rookie out of Oregon for him.
Giving Bill Belichick a cornerback that's good instead of expecting him to turn a cornerback into something. Yeah.
But I will also say, I mean, what could really help the Patriots is this Keyshawn Butte is actually good.
Oh, for sure.
If he looks like how he did during the preseason, during the regular season, I think they'll be fine.
Well, and Jack Jones or...
Jack Jones is good, and Marcus Jones.
Marcus Jones got the firearm charge dropped, so he's good to play. Was it Jonathan Jones? I know it's one of the damn Jones. I don't know.
Marcus is fine. You know what? I really love Marcus Jones for the Patriots. They drafted him last year, played in the slot for him, also caught a receiving touchdown last year, also was good as a punt and kick returner. I love watching players who are versatile and can contribute in every part of the game. Let's keep it rolling.
It was Jack Jones.
Jack Jones? Okay. No, it wasn't Marcus. That's the one I knew it wasn't.
Jack Jones got the firearm charges dropped. Yeah, so he gets to do community service though. Rams Seahawks. I don't think this one's a discussion, to be honest with you.
I think the Seahawks are probably going to win this game. The Rams are just a depleted roster when it comes to talent.
Yeah.
If you want to look for someone to watch on offense, the Rams, Go watch Puka.
Puka Nakua. Yeah,
Puka Nakua. I'm so terrible. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce
you're all
any bad
good.
numbers. Um, he legitimately took 2 TDs back on end arounds at BYU.
Yeah,
Honestly, really athletic player. And with Cooper Cup being out, he is going to be an absolute steal in fantasy this year. I think he's going to be a guy that you can get very late in drafts that is going to be able to produce for you starting week 1.
that's fair. I'm very hesitant on either of the Rams running backs. Cam Akers is the one that I feel like people see as the more consistent, fantasy option, but I think that Kyron Williams, especially later on into the year, and especially in PPR formats, is going to be the real threat on that team. If they
I
have any
watched,
production, but
I watched enough of Kyron at Notre Dame, and take Cam Akers.
uh-oh, I know for a
Uh-oh.
fact some kitty just pooped.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, it's right there too. Yippee.
All right. Yippee. All right, let's run through these last few games so you can take care of that.
Dolphins
Okay.
Chargers. This is
Dolphins
the big one.
Chargers. Give me the Chargers. Give me Justin Herbert in this matchup. Give me the team that has a better defense on paper, at least right now. If even that actually, Vic Fangio is an amazing defensive coordinator. Um, I ultimately just think the Chargers are a better team. I think them by 4.
I'll take the Chargers as well. Um, no
I just
comment on
don't.
points.
I just don't think the Dolphins' offensive line's gonna be able to hold up either.
That's also very fair. I think the Dolphins' offensive line is bad. Chargers' defense is better, especially for the first however long Jalen Ramsey's out. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also just the matchup problems of thinking about the Dolphins' tackles against Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack.
Um, yeah, I won't argue with you there on that one. Packers, Bears. Give me the
I'll take
Packers.
Packers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm the
think
same way.
we own them. We just own them,
I
and
mean,
I think
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say the Bears. I think are getting better offensively, especially in the secondary. We're both very young
Yeah.
teams. I just think ultimately it's going to come down to poor offensive line play and poor play by Justin Fields. I just don't think Justin Fields has what it. I don't think he's developed enough in the pocket as a passer to actually make it work.
The only way they win this game is if DJ Moore and one of the running backs are just so explosive in the passing game for them, like we saw in the preseason. That's the only chance they have.
DJ Moore just needs to take a screen pass 50 yards, 40 yards, 60 yards to the house every time.
This next one I think is the interesting one because I heard a stat today. Dak Prescott in his career starting against the Giants is 10-0.
I know, which is fucking wild to think about.
But this is the best Giants team that we've seen in Dak's career and in a very long time. This is going to sound crazy coming from me. I trust Dak Prescott more than Daniel Jones. Well, I don't know about trust, but I believe in.
I think he's the better quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in terms of just like when you need to come back in a game. I would trust Dak as a passer more than Daniel Jones. I think the Giants' defense is deeper but worse. The Cowboys have the better defense, and they have the better offensive balance. I believe the Giants have a better run game, but I believe that the Cowboys will be much better at stopping it this year. So yeah, give me Giants. Gonna lose by 4.
Yeah, I would also take the Cowboys by like 4 or 5 points.
I was thinking 21-17.
Yeah, something along those lines. I do think the Cowboys are just a better team. I think that defense is just ready to take another step since they added Stephon Gilmore now.
And I think Dak
Um,
actually has a decent year this
yeah,
year.
Dak would. Yeah, well, maybe. I'm not going to go that far. I do think the addition of Brandon Cooks is great. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is a legit number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. I'm excited to see Tony Pollard as full-time RB1 on that team.
Yeah, for however
Essentially
long that
somebody
lasts.
who- It's fine because Juice Vaughn's there. I really want to see. I really want to see Darren Sproles 2.0 run the rock.
Middle
Um,
schooler out there.
Middle schooler out there. Okay, so let's keep it going with our final game of the week. The irony of this game being on 9/11. Aaron Rodgers makes his debut with the Jets. 9/11 Monday night, 8:15 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern Standard Time. It's hilarious because if you didn't know this about Aaron Rodgers, you know it now. He's a 9/11 conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. Well,
It was legitimately the first thing he asked to Sean Kaiser when he got traded to the Packers.
do you believe
Do you believe in 9/11? And then gave him a fucking book
a
about
book
the
about
conspiracy
it? Oh
theories the
my
next day
god.
to go over.
That's just crazy.
So this man makes his debut on 9/11. I'm excited to watch Aaron Rodgers and the Jets this year. I think they might I think the AFC Championship this year is going to be Jets Jaguars, and two poverty franchises finally going to have a good time.
I think this game is going to be decided by the defenses. And I think that both teams have good offenses, but the Jets defense is aiming to be historic.
They want
Yeah, I will take the Jets in this game tentatively. And again, with these in division games, you really never know. I think the Bills' offensive line, you know, honestly, something I can't answer questions about. I know the Jets' offensive line is not good enough, but I know Aaron Rodgers knows how to get rid of the fucking football and won't throw it down the middle of the field like Josh Allen is not afraid to do. I think Josh Allen will be punished more than Aaron Rodgers ever will be, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this game.
I I do think the Jets defense is going to play a huge factor in this game. I think no Von Miller for the Jets, for not the Jets, but for the Bills is going to be a big factor too. Who's going to
Forgot
be
about that again. Yeah.
who's going to be generating that pass rush on the outside of Greg Rousseau. But yeah, I actually don't think it's going to be super close. I think the Jets are going to take it 31-17.
Wow. That's a lot.
I think they're going to take it. I think they're going to make a statement on Monday night.
There you have it.
There we have it. That is our picks. Something fun that I think I'm gonna do this year for us. I'm gonna keep track of our picks this year.
That's why I'm writing them down. I am right there with you.
We're gonna keep track of them this year. We're gonna see who has the most picks at the end of the year.
And whoever has the worst picks at the end of the year, or the most incorrect, we'll think of something. We'll agree on something by next week.
And we'll think of something.
We'll
but
cook something
anywho,
up.
thank you all for year 2 of PitchPass podcast. We're gonna be here with you guys. We're gonna try to get an episode up probably about every Wednesday every week. That's the schedule we're gonna try to keep. Yeah, we love you guys and thanks for coming in. Year 2.
Peace out.